BWB.
Bandwagon Buffs.
That's right. It's your man's Harry Billion. Please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as it uploads to YouTube. All right, family. So I got to go ahead and get into this video real quick. So that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work. So I saw this interview that Brian Howard did with Justin Myers, who's going to be a new O-line with the CU Buffs. And I thought it was a pretty good interview, and I wanted to do a reaction to it. I use his writing in some of my videos, and I think he does a really good job with the questions that he asked Justin Myers in this interview. I wanted to react to this video because I feel like what Coach Prime desires, the things that he wants to accomplish in 2024, some of those things are going to be possible because some of the nuances that I picked up in Justin Myers' answers. You probably already saw the interview, but I want to highlight certain things that he said in this interview so that you can see what I'm talking about when it comes to why I think Coach Prime may be successful if you read into what Justin Myers is saying. I want to let you know this is a reaction video. I understand how annoying it is when somebody start and stop the video, but just please be patient with me. I will have to start and stop the video to comment on something that he's saying in the video. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and play the interview. We're going to go ahead and react to it.
We know, Colorado fans especially know that the offensive line struggled last year and that head coach Deion Sanders made that a priority with the transfer portal. You're one of, I think, 5 or 6 offensive linemen transfers that are coming in, plus a little guy named Jordan Seaton that has got a little hype around the country as well. So this offensive line has been remade. Plus there's some guys that played a lot last year that they're not going to get off their spots easily. So when you look around the room, you guys haven't been on the field together, but what's your impression when you look at that offensive line group?
I think he brought up some great points. I think the coaching staff and the recruiting staff did a great job recruiting all of us, strategically. A lot of us, including myself, I'll be a 6-year guy. I'll be a graduate transfer, and including myself, I consider myself like a veteran almost, and we're bringing a lot of skill and talent and leadership, and we're going to help change the culture for the better. And the guys that are here, they're cool guys to meet. I met them the other day, and this room already has changed for the better. And I know how the O-line was last year, but this year it'll be a whole different team. And I think last year kind of showed that it really starts with like the trenches, and that's what Coach Deion, like Coach Sanders, he really prided on and recruiting the trenches. So I'm excited for this season. Yes, sir.
So right off the bat, I want to say something that I've said before on other videos. And the one thing that I'm mostly excited about is the fact that these young men, they understand the excitement. The fact that Coach Prime has made being a lineman sexy. Later on, you will hear in his interview where Justin says, if they don't hear your name, that means you're doing your job. Before, a lot of us did not pay attention to the defensive line or the offensive line. If those guys are doing their job, you're paying attention to the running backs, you're paying attention to wide receivers, quarterback, the skill positions. These guys are coming in knowing our O-lines, air quotes, stunk up the place. That's what everybody is saying. That was the narrative, that the O-line was no good. So the fact that they understand coming into this, even though you should understand when you come into a football team, whatever position you're coming in for, you're coming to do your job. But regardless of that, right, I feel like since there's been this heightened sense of urgency to protect Shedeur, now everybody coming in, especially Justin Myers and the other guys that are coming in onto this O-line, these guys understand what the job is and what it is they are here to do. And I think the fact that that's in the back of their minds, the fact that they know that they're going to be on the hot seat to protect Shedeur, so they're coming in here for that makes it that more important. That gives it more emphasis, and we know that they're going to take it personal. That's another little window into why this team may be successful on that offensive line, because these guys are coming in with bad intentions. Good, but bad intentions, knowing that if you touch 2, you touch me. Pause maybe, but if you touch 2, I'm going to take it personal. So pay attention to that. Keep that in mind, guys, as we go through this interview. All right, guys, so I interrupt the Justin Myers interview reaction video to bring you this relevant breaking news. CU Buffs lineman Jack Wiltie enters the transfer portal. This is coming from buffzone.com. It is coming from Brian Howard, the guy that is interviewing Justin Myers. This is definitely relevant because of who I am responding to. Justin Myers probably calls this dude to enter that transfer portal. Let's go ahead and get the story, and then I'll give you my perspective on it. The Liberian perspective. Let's go. After one season with the Colorado Buffaloes, Jack Welty is moving on. On Monday, the junior offensive lineman announced that he will enter the transfer portal. He is a graduate transfer with 2 seasons of eligibility remaining. The 6'4", 310-pound Welty came to CU last season after 2 seasons at Iowa Central Community College. Welty started at right guard in the Buffalo season opener at TCU last year, playing all 80 86 offensive snaps. He played sparingly after that, however, finishing the year with 146 snaps played, with 52 of those against UCLA. Welty began his college career at Northern Illinois in 2020. He did not see any game action, but that season didn't count towards eligibility because of the COVID-19 pandemic. He redshirted at ICCC in 2021 before playing 8 games in 2022, earning ICCAC All-Conference First Team honors. CU has had 10 scholarship players enter the transfer portal since the end of the season, including 4 offensive linemen. The Buffs, however, had added 23 players, including 5 offensive linemen with starting experience at the FBS level. They also added the #1 offensive lineman recruit from the prep ranks, Jordan Seaton. I find this quite interesting, the fact that I'm actually doing a reaction video to Justin Myers, who's actually a guard who plays the same position as the guy that is jumping to the transfer portal. My take on this is probably that Coach Prime asked him to jump into that transfer portal, or he saw the competition that was coming and he just knew that he was not going to fit in to that scheme that they were about to implement. Now, he could have been a depth player, DEPTH player, a depth player. I don't know how much playing time he would have gotten. This is not necessarily the type of breaking news where we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we lost another lineman. When you say sparingly after that TCU game, his game declined. If his game declined, then that means that he was one of those linemen that wasn't really producing at the level at where we're trying to go. We're trying to get to that 12-team playoff, and we don't have no time to be playing around with somebody who we know cannot protect Shedeur. I believe he was either squeezed out or he saw the writing on the wall, but I like what I'm hearing from Justin Myers, and I'm about to go back to that interview so I can give you more of my perspective on that interview. That was your breaking news, guys, from Brian Howell of BuffZone.com. Let's go ahead and throw this back to Brian Howell, who's actually interviewing a right guard. You got some dogs in the house, and they're barking. Let's go.
You know, there was a point where Shedeur and some of these offensive line recruits went out to dinner, got challenged a little bit, and the offensive line kind of, you know, backed up their quarterback. You were there, right?
Yeah, I was there. You heard about that? Yeah, that was, you know, it was before any of us even committed. You know, it was before any of us committed, but, you know, it was just, when you're a man, I mean, and regardless if he's your QB or not, it's just certain stuff you can't go for, and, you know, and certain levels of disrespect that can be uncalled for. So it was cool how, it's ironic how the 4 of us that were there ended up being the line that commit. I mean, the ones that they really wanted. So it's kind of awesome how that worked out. But no, I mean, Shedeur's a great guy. Off the field, he's the most humble, most passionate guy. He's like one of my best friends now, and you know, it's great. It's great. Mm-hmm.
There was a narrative that was brewing whether Shedeur had a relationship with his O-line, whether he would take the next step to making his O-line feel special so that they can take protecting him personally. The fact that Shedeur is taking the initiative to make sure that his guys understand who he is, where he's at, this is a very positive step in the right direction, because these guys have to understand their quarterback. They have to understand that if I protect this guy, my team can do X, Y, and Z. You know, Shedeur is a natural leader. He has that natural leadership, and he's what you call an alpha male, where he understands men, he understands himself. First and foremost, he has confidence in his abilities, and then he also makes other people around him better. That's why you're the quarterback. That's why he's the leader, and taking the initiative to invite these young men, even way before they got signed, to say, hey man, this is the deal. This is what we're going to be facing. You see how highly profiled the trenches was. We need to make sure that we tighten up. So you do your job, and I'm going to take care of you. This is good. This is a good step, and another thing why I think this line would be successful. Let's keep it moving.
So in all seriousness, you're brought here to protect him, right?
Yes.
As an offensive lineman, you know, that's not a position that usually gets a lot of glory, but it's a very important position. How serious do you take that job of, I'm going to protect number 2, or whatever the quarterback, whatever number your quarterback wears, but that job of protecting the quarterback?
I put my life on the line every day, whether it's practice or in the game. You know, I treat it as if my mom or sister's back there. I think as offensive linemen, like you said, you don't get all the touchdowns or the Heisman Awards, but when we score those touchdowns, it takes an O-line to accomplish that. But, you know, I think being an O-lineman, you have to be selfless. You have to be hungry. You have to be wanting to dominate in the trenches every single snap, even when your name's not. If your name is not mentioned, you're doing something right. So I take that as a good thing. But I think I'd rather give the receivers and the quarterback, you know, let them get all the glory, because if they get the glory, we're going to win. It's going to ultimately give us the awards. And, help us be a great O-line overall.
So right there, understanding like, okay, I'm here to do this. I'm here to protect too. I'm here to make sure that nobody touches him. And if anybody touches him, I'm going to correct that the next play. Pay close attention to what these young men are saying and how they're saying it. When you look at them, they have this thing about them. They have this flair, this confidence about them. And when they're talking, it seems like they really mean business. You go back and you watch the video that I put out about the quarterbacks, Shedeur versus the Big 12 quarterbacks. There's a lot of interceptions that were thrown by the quarterbacks in the Big 12. Some of them may not be there anymore, but a lot of the quarterbacks are not as accurate as Shedeur is. So Shedeur being one of the best quarterbacks, he only threw 3 interceptions with 3,200 yards. We know that if the protection was there, some of those passes that he were sacked and could not throw, if he connects on those passes, we're looking at somewhere 4,000, 5,000 yard season. And let's be realistic. Even though these guys, they know their assignment, no O-line is going to hold up that line for more than 3 seconds. 3 seconds is the ideal time. When we watched the Washington State game, we knew that Michael Penix Jr. was getting that ball out within 2 seconds. I counted it. You can go watch my live video where we watched the game, the national title game. Bo Nix was getting the ball out within 2 seconds, and he was so getting sacked. So I do understand. I'm not delusional. I do understand that at the end of the day, no matter what these guys are saying, Shedeur will still have to work on his mechanics. That is understandable. Shedeur's going to have to make some adjustments on his mechanics. He's also going to have to buy himself more time. There's no reason why he can't step inside of the pocket. For the most part, he's always going backwards. So if they give him a little bit of room, he needs to step inside the pocket and he needs to get rid of the ball a lot faster, because we saw Michigan's DBs, they get to the ball. If we go into the playoffs, a lot of these guys are going to be getting to that ball often. So far, I'm liking what I'm hearing. Let's keep listening.
You had a successful career at UTEP. I mean, 5 seasons there. The last 2 years, you were a full-time starter, all-conference honorable mention, I believe, both years. Tell me about your time at UTEP and what you like playing for the Miners.
UTEP was good. It was a great experience. I learned a lot. It was a great stepping stone. I made some brothers for a lifetime there. I mean, my first game at 18 was against UT Austin, so I got a great experience. Being there, I played a lot of great teams, and obviously, I was kind of like the diamond in the rough, and the portal kind of showed that, because I had I think 32 offers, and I even stopped posting. It got so crazy, but I'm happy to be here. Yeah. I'm thankful for my time at UTEP and all those years and all those nights of hard work and grinding, and and perseverance and resilience brought me here. So now I can put all of it on the table and go to work for sure.
There's one thing that he said in this that I wanted to highlight, and it's the fact that we always judge based upon the stars. We always look at, are they a 5-star because Georgia has 5 stars, Alabama has 5 stars, and all of these 5-star stuff. You don't necessarily have to be this big recruit out of high school to be successful. He goes to UTEP, he proves himself, and then his value goes up. His value is now somewhere where 30-some-odd teams are actually wanting to have him on their team. When people say, oh, you don't have these 5 stars, you have a bunch of just bodies. If you think about it, it's not necessary. Can he play? Can the person ball? Because we got coaches on the team that's supposed to do their job. If the coaches do their job, then guess what? Then we'll be fine. And that's what's going to matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you mentioned there's a lot of guys like yourself around the country that maybe get more attention through the portal than they got out of high school, and it's sort of that second opportunity.
Yes, sir.
What's it been like for you, getting that attention? I mean, when you go in the portal, you get 32 offers, and you didn't get that out of high school, right? So what was that like for you?
It's crazy because, like we said, O-lineman, you don't get any hype or, all the photo shoots and the glitz and glam and all the records and stuff. But, this kind of shows how the market is nowadays, how good O-linemen and veteran O-linemen like myself are really needed. Yeah. And I think CU was a place that really emphasized that. Not only that they wanted me, but they needed me. Yeah. And the staff here, they treat you like family. No fake, no gimmicks. What you get is what you get. They're normal people, and they're guys that I can call my family now. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So right there, not only that they wanted me, that they needed me. That's another thing that Coach Prime highlights. Coach Prime says, I want to go somewhere where people need me. He's a fixer. He's a natural fixer. He wants to go places where he's needed to fix something, to fix an issue. It seems like Justin could be a fixer too. With his mentality, with his line of answers that he's given to these questions, is letting me know that he wants to fix a problem. And men naturally like to fix issues. We're natural fixers. Coming in here understanding that they needed him to fix this issue of protecting Shedeur, he's going to take it personal. And the fact that he's taking it personal is giving me confidence. If you take it personal, then I know that you're going to do your job. I know that it's going to be something that you hold dear to heart at the end of the day, that somebody's talking about you in the media, that you guys stink. And then the fact that you are now best friends with the quarterback, that's your boy. So you wouldn't want to see him get hit. I know a lot of y'all going to say, what 32 teams wanted him? Was it Alabama? Was it Georgia? It's sad that we have to say those things. 32 teams in college football that wanted this guy, that means that he can ball. That's what's important. Whether you know the name or not, or whether he was a beast, whether he went to a top level college or not, it doesn't matter.
There's not a lot of guys that come out of high school that are Jordan Seaton that have everybody in the country wanting them, right?
Yes,
and
yeah.
You know, you weren't one of them, but you had to develop, and
Yes,
you know, a lot of offensive linemen have to develop, and it takes 2-3 years of redshirting or
Yes,
sitting to wait for that. What was that process like, and was it hard to, you know, go through a couple years where you're not playing and you're just trying to develop?
I think that time, you know, you could take for granted. You know, it's crucial. You know, those times of developing and becoming a man and as a player, you know, it's humbling, but it makes you work harder, for sure. And I was kind of, my first early years of college was COVID, so we didn't really get to play that much a lot of those years that I had. But the last 3 years when I was really dominating and playing, and kind of opened my eyes and, you know, really made me find that spark again, that light, you know, because it's always been there. It's a sport I've played all my life. And it's fun to move a grown man from point A to point B and just dominate them in the dirt, you know, so that's what I enjoy. Yes, sir, for sure.
Here's another thing that I wanted to highlight, because we talked about this on the live show, on the TLP live show. It's the fact that Coach Prim's, his recruiting is 40% graduate, 40% undergraduate, 20% freshman. Coach Prime had an interview with RG3. He re-emphasized that he preferred to get him from the transfer portal, because you can groom a guy and then he can hit that transfer portal. But if you go to the transfer portal, he's already redshirted. He's already going through the ups and downs of, oh, I'm not playing, whatever grief that he needed to handle, being immature, being a young man coming out of high school. If you were good in high school and everybody was giving you praises, now you've settled with that because you know that everybody that's on this team are just as good, as sometimes they are better than you because they have more experience. You can get that person from the portal. Some people like to put emphasis on high school recruiting and then grooming people, but nowadays you don't have that luxury of keeping the player that you groomed. It makes sense that Justin Myers coming out of the transfer portal, he's going through all of the ups and downs and everything of being a red shirt or just having to grind it out where guys were better than him. Now he's ready to finish his career at Colorado, and this is great for him. Why is this great for him? Because the next step is the NFL. He's already ready for the NFL, because now you're not just going to be on TV, but everybody's going to be talking about you. So if you do your job, and the fact that everybody is now looking at Colorado's O-line, your tape is going to be even more heightened. Even in those games that are not high media games, those are just conference games, even those games are going to be looked at just as high as being on ESPN, the first channel. And this is going to be his most important year. I like what he did. Let's take one more.
I just thought about this, but you mentioned you have 32 offers. You have 1 year left, and then there's 32 NFL teams. You want 32 offers again, right?
Yes.
So you're trying to get the attention of 32 other different teams this year. How big is this year for you to for that future that you want to play in the NFL?
Yes, sir. This year is everything. I mean, it's my last year, and you know, I can't take any moment for granted. Every day we work out, every rep in the weight room, every sprint, even if it's tough, it gets hard some days. Altitude's a little bit different. I like it, but you know, this is everything. I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna bond with my new teammates, become a leader, and help this team elevate. And since my last year, you know, I gotta give it everything I got. And I think that's kind of how serious this year was in me choosing this school, because I know some of the players we have, like Shedeur and whoever, you know, we all can make it. And this team, I think everyone can make it on this team to the NFL, but this team, we're all in, and I'm all in. So this year is important for sure.
Play guard, and he's going to play left or right guard. That's his position. But the fact that he's saying he's all in, this is his last year. This is Shiloh's last year. This is Shedeur's last year. All of them are all in. If they're all in, then it gives you insight and confidence as a fan. If you are a fan, you know, watching the video, because obviously not everybody that watch these videos are fans, but some people are just watching it for the information so that they can crap on Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffs because we are the media darlings. It's all good. But whatever your reason is, understanding of the insight into the minds of these young men, this is their last year, and they're going to take it personal. They're going to go out there and they're going to lay everything on the line for this last year. This is going to be a good year for Colorado, because if they want to go to the NFL, this is the time where they prove it. I know that we're going to have a good season. Even though we don't have a bunch of 4 and 5 stars on that list, I believe Colorado could have a dominant season if everybody locks in, okay? If everybody locks in. If we don't have selfish ball, or we we don't have some of these issues that we had last year in that locker room, dealing with too many existential issues and circumstances, Colorado is going to have a good year. This is going to be a fun year to watch Colorado football. What we were looking for in year number 1, this is the year that we're going to get it. I thought this was a great interview. Justin Myers is locked in. They want to make this a great season. Coach Prime wants to send his sons off with a bang, and I believe this is the season that they're going to do it in. If we go to the playoff, that's going to be a great send-off. But anyways, I will leave it right here, guys. Make sure to smash that like and that subscribe button to help this channel grow. Okay?